No rotation. Oh, look at that. It broke loose. I didn't think that was there. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm going to look at the Star Wars Black Series Bossk, another bounty hunter, which is always great to see. Just looking at him in the package, he looks pretty awesome. After getting the Emperor, being slightly disappointed, but he'll be passable, blah, blah, blah. You can check out that review. But after getting the Emperor and then getting him with I can already see shading on the skin, that kind of thing. The sculpt is pretty good for the flight suit. He's going to be cool. I'm ready to open him. The back, standard black packaging, black all over. We have him now, and we already had Boba Fett. IG-88 is coming. So we're down to Forlom, Dengar, and Zuckuss. And I would love for Hasbro to release the whole crew. Along with Greedo, we'd have a nice shelf of bounty hunters, So, enough rambling. He's out of the packaging. And he's pretty cool. I believe this is where Hasbro excels when it comes to the 6-inch line. With the main actors, you have to get likenesses and that kind of thing, which is hard to do. Even Sideshow has a little problem with the main, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford. I'm preferring the Bandai model kits when it comes to armored characters, Darth Vader, Stormtrooper, the droids. Well, R2 so far, we haven't seen a C-3PO Black Series figure yet. But when it comes to aliens and, the bounty hunters, the oddballs, Hasbro's been doing pretty good in that area. And it especially shows here with Bossk. Right off the bat, it looks like Bossk. What else am I going to say? The flight suit's there. It's a little clean up here in the white. His skin does have a shading to it, but the yellow and the white up top and the red tubing, it's all fairly clean. What surprised me most is how rubbery this, all the tubing and the straps hanging down over him, it doesn't impede articulation. So that's pretty cool. I was worried about that looking in the package, that his legs were going to be locked in position. That's not the case. I do have one problem, though. It seems that in the package, or at the factory, the head wasn't put together right. The head seems to be a separate piece from here up. And it looks a little crooked because there's a gap on this side, causing, which I was about to show, the articulated jaw. And the peg's in there, and it doesn't come out. There's the jaw, all looking like a piranha. It looks like it's gonna fall out. I'm not too happy with that. On this side, I'm guessing that's what it's supposed to look like, no gap. The hinge is in there well, and there's not any space. This side, it stays gapped, so when you try to close his mouth, his jaw is a little bit that way, and it stays a little bit more open on this side. But this is the first articulated jaw that we've had, and I'm fairly happy with it. You can get it most of the way closed, and then that far open. And while I'm showing off articulation, let's just run through that real quick. The neck, again, is a little new to the Black Series. It's the head and the neck, and then it goes down into a hinge joint with a swivel. So it's kind of backwards from the rest of the Black Series. It's not a neck going with a peg up into the head. This is a complete piece up here. So it hinges back a little bit, hinges forward a little bit, and then there's a swivel. Not much side to side, because I don't think it's a ball down in there. And not a lot of movement because of this red collar. The shoulders are hinge and swivel out about that far around. The elbows are hinge and swivel. You're not going to get quite 90. And coming out of the package, you might have to Yeah, keep an eye out. This was turned around, which looks right. When you first look at it, the hand was turned. That's the way it was. And when I tried to go, it was even less of a bend. But then I realized on the other side, the clearance for the hinge came down into this band. So you turn it around, you turn the hand around, you get more movement, a little bit more range of movement. The wrists are hinge and swivel, 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 and both wrists are hinged up and down. It doesn't do a lot of good for this hand, but it works really well when you get the gun in this hand. Torso is up under the vest instead of, again, like most of the Black Series figures, down here towards the waist. You don't get much side to side, and you don't get any front to back. I don't know if that joint is stuck or if it's supposed to be that way, but if it could move around, if you could get more movement, it would rip on this piece right here, and then the piece in the back. This hose is pretty stiff coming around, and it attaches up here to down here, so again, that may be pulling on it, keeping me from rotating this way. And now that I force it, I can get a little more that way, but the hose is pulling there. The hips, hinge and swivel. Now, this does get in the way, but if you shove it up, you can get movement out of that joint, forward and back. The right one goes easy. The left one, if you leave this strap down, it's going to snag right there. So you have to push it up and over that decorative piece, and then you get full movement. Double knees, back. I skipped the thigh swivel. There's a swivel up here. There's a swivel down here. And this swivel down here will make it easier when I get to my custom idea here in a little bit. The ankle, hinged. And then the forward-facing peg for rocker ankle. And because of his big feet, he's pretty easy to stand. This left ankle is slightly bouncy, but because of the big claws in the feet, he's got a stable base. Now notice the paint. There's a little bleed of black on the bands here. The black kind of bleeds off this shoulder harness onto his vest. There's some yellow showing through a little bit right here on top of this, whatever this valve is. Valve? I don't know what that is on the front of his leg. But the eyes are a little better. If you go to Amazon.com, they have the, I don't know if it's a promo picture or I can't remember offhand, but one of his eyes looked kind of wonky, staring at his nose. The one I got, he looks forward pretty well. Here he is with Boba Fett. Of course, you know, bounty hunters, you got to put them together. In the package, Bossk looked really tall. I get him out of the package, he doesn't seem as tall as I thought he was, which again goes towards my custom idea. I picture him tall, but we were always looking up at him, or at least what I remember, and he always seemed like a really tall dude. Here he is with the other bounty hunter we have in the line, bounty hunter if you want to call. A lot of people think he's a joke. I think this is one of the better figures Hasbro's put out. Again, alien, not a likeness to stick to. I mean, it looks like Greedo, so, and the paint apps are really good. The body's really good. What can I say? It's Greedo. Again, Hasbro excels at this type of figure. And here he is with Luke. Luke is a small guy, so this makes Bossk look really huge. But he's not compared to most of the other figures in the line. But I wanted to compare them because their suits are, they're not identical, but they're similar. Quite a size difference. It's interesting to see that they brought the hinge joint here at the elbow way down on Luke so he could get some bend to his elbows. Past 90. They're not doing that with Bossk. I guess they were afraid that it would break that band right there. Whereas on Luke, it comes down to the glove, and it's not as prominent. Now, Bossk does come with his rifle. It's fairly accurate, if not a little plain. It's just cast in black. This strap is a soft plastic, and it is looped around there. It can be taken off. Actually, that'll help here in a minute. So you can put it over his shoulder pretty good. It doesn't hang that well because the plastic sticks out. And his left hand is formed to hold a gun. But when you go to put his gun in his hand, he's just kind of, I keep wanting to say tippy-toe, but he just grabs it with his claws. The claws in the trigger. If you try to force that in, the trigger guard is bigger than his actual finger here. So you're going to stretch that out, and then it has the back guard. So it holds good. You can have him at resting or action pose, and he's going to keep holding it. So it works. I'd like to see a little weathering on the weapon, but what you can do. So all in all, I dig this figure. Like I said, Hasbro, keep on with the aliens and stuff. I'll keep buying them. I'm going to end up with another Bossk because I feel this body will work for a Bossk from the Cantina. Putting some boots on him may shorten him down a little bit, just slightly, get him in better scale with Luke. Even though in the movie Bossk looked like he was taller than Luke, so I'm good with it either way. Replace the arms, replace the head, of course. There is no shortage of 6-inch scale heads, so I'm sure I can find one and then put some hair on him that will look like Bossk. Otherwise, Bossk goes on the bounty hunter shelf. Completely happy with this figure, even though he has a slight gappy jaw. If I get another one and it's better than this one, then I'll tear this one up for custom. It all works out. So, if you like the video, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the Fwoosh. I think my main gripes are fixable. I'm going to glue this hood down. And I know there's been a lot of a lot of people talking, this figure sucks. I can't say that.